Omutata is a man on a mission and a very determined Kenyan. The Busia senator is a man who understands law, even though he's not a lawyer. It seems he is the only person who Kenyans can now rely on their hopes on him. He has decided that he's going to appeal against the ruling of the appellate court that lifted or set aside the ban on the implementation of the Finance Act 2023. Okia, in a notice, said the following on his Twitter handle, that we have issued a notice of appeal against Friday's Court of Appeal ruling that lifted conservatory orders barring implementation of the Finance Act 2023. The notice will be filed at the Supreme Court, and this is the notice there. Republic of Kenya, in the Court of Appeal of Kenya at Nairobi, Wasame M. Noti and Omondi JJ. Those are the judges who made the ruling. Civil application number E304 of 2023, consolidated with civil application number E310 of 2023. Between, these are now the applicants, the cabinet, these are now the respondents. The Cabinet Secretary for the National National Treasury and Planning, and the Honorable Attorney General. Remember, it was the Cabinet Secretary through the Attorney General who appealed against the High Court ruling that had barred the implementation of the Finance Act. So they are going also to be the first and second respondent there. And Omutata, Eliud Karanja, Matindi, Michael Kojo, Benson, and all that. And I want us to go to the last part. It says, notice of appeal. Take notice that Okia Omutata Okoiti, Eliud Karanja Matindi, Benson Odiwuor Otieno, and Blair Angima Oigoro, respectively, the first, second, fourth, and fifth respondent, being dissatisfied with the entire ruling of the Court of Appeal, were Same Mnoti and Omondi JJ in bracket, given at Nairobi on the 28th day of July 2023, intend to appeal to the Supreme Court against the whole decision. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get and delve so much into what is happening, if you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so that whenever we do a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. You can also share our videos. To those who have been great supporters of this channel, I want to say thank you and I want to salute you in a very special way. Now, Okia Omutata, some people are saying that he is on a wild goose chase, if we have to borrow the words of the president of the judiciary. This is because the case is now heading to the Supreme Court. Anytime you mention the word Supreme Court, one thing comes to the minds of Kenyans. Whatever is happening in the country is courtesy of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court was part and parcel among other key players that resulted into Kenyans being where they are, running battles in the streets, police, killing people here and there. They had an opportunity of making a ruling that would have saved this country. And I'm saying that because up to date, even though they upheld the decision of the IEBC that William Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza was duly elected as the 5th president of Kenya, there are questions that to date have not been answered. In fact, many a times when people confront me with this question, someone was telling me that in a democratic country, once an election cycle has been completed, the IEBC pronounces itself, people go to the Supreme Court and they rule, then that is the end. It is very true that according to our constitution, that is the end. But what happens when it is blatantly known that something was wrong? I will tell you why two things are wrong. One, I have always mentioned that the judicial languages that are used in a hotly contested, case such as that of Raila versus Ruto must be soothing. Because whenever people go for go to court to act as arbiter, the judges must leave both sides satisfied that there was justice done. By using words like hot air, wild goose chase, even if you ask any lawyer, in fact, it doesn't need any rocket science to understand that those are not judicial languages. They are meant to hurt someone. They're only tantamount to an intention, an ulterior motive, which is not the intention of our courts. And the other thing is that whenever we have been challenged to open the server, we don't want to open that server because it has the secrets to what happened in 2022. Then I will tell you the last one. We have had several allegations about some people who wanted to kidnap Chebukati. Yet those people have not been mentioned. We are waiting for justice, because if someone wanted to kill Chebukati, then we really need to bring those people to book. And that is why I'm telling you that everything is wrong with the Supreme Court. Just the other day, Madam Martha Koome was seen in a public holiday in a brand new Toyota sports car. At a time when Kenyans are grappling with economic challenges, and we were informed that Martha Koome has a fleet of other cars that can help her. And people wondered why she was riding in a very brand new car, adding to all the other luxuries. And there is only one explanation, that the relationship between the executive and the judiciary is one that is very amicable. When Omutata told William Ruto that we will meet in court, he made good his threats, and the High Court, listening to the people, acting on public interest, decided that they stop the implementation of this very bill that was rushed. You all know that in our constitution there is the provision for public participation, and this government was doing it as a mere formality, because every sector, every department, every Kenyan who spoke, except for the rich Kenya Kwanza members of parliament, were against this bill. And I remember they were saying that we have not refused to pay taxes. It is not only that this is not the time. We don't want these deductions ostensibly that will give us houses. But their voices were ignored. Then came the president of the legislative arm of the government, the Speaker of the National Assembly, our friend Moses Masika Wetangula, who played mischief. And some members of parliament were not there, others were sent to Tunisia. They claimed that they were not even aware that voting was going to take place on that very day. But even if they were there, nothing was going to happen, because members had been compromised. You remember William Ruto started by compromising the members who support Azimio. So the executive bullied its way by capturing parliament. And so Kenyans were left on their own. So when Omutata went to court, the High Court stood with the Kenyans and banned the implementation of the finance bill. But then the Attorney General, acting on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, and Treasury went and appealed against this, and we saw the true colors of our judiciary because they acted in favor of the government. You all know that whatever we are facing is also as a result of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the West. I'm one person who keeps on crying about being puppets of our colonial masters. Those, the UK, and of course US is not our colonial masters, but we're now a colony of the USA. And whenever they have their grip on something, it is very difficult to let go. When they decided that William Ruto was going to be the president, he became the president. When they decided that GMO must be introduced to us, we are still playing games. It's still there in the court of justice. We are waiting for the ruling. When they decided that they wanted LGBTQ to be practiced in Kenya, it was the same Supreme Court that allowed it. And so our fear, ladies and gentlemen, is that as Okia Omutata goes to appeal against the ruling, Kenyans are left on their own. And that is why it is said it is a wild goose chase. It is like a black cat chasing a black rat in a dark room, or a blind cat chasing a dark cat in a blind room. It's not going to be successful. Kenyans have got only one option: to stand firm on their own, not to wait for any politician, not to wait for any leader, but to go on the streets and tell William Ruto, please, we don't want to get this. When we wait for a certain political leader to go to the streets, he will be accused, like they are saying, that Raila wants to topple a government that was duly elected. If Kenyans would rise up and go to the streets and tell William Ruto, we are tired, I can assure you that they won't be accused, because these are Kenyans. And I have a feeling that one day the epicenter of rebellion will be Central and Rift Valley, because hunger does not choose. We wish Okia Omutata all the best, but I fear that our judiciary will not rule in favor of the people, but they will rule in favor of the government. I don't know what to think, but that is my take.